not know that you could see the countdown. I thought that was behind the scenes stuff.
Hey, it helps.
Welcome, welcome, everybody. Thank you all for tuning in. I want to first thank everybody for tuning in. I know that your time is precious and valuable to you. So we're going to try and always bring some educational and some informational stuff to you folks. So make sure you comment, you like, you share, you subscribe, do all that crazy fun YouTube stuff the kids are doing these days. Once again, I am Charlie Mack from Brooklyn, New York. You can find me on all the social media platforms, mostly on Instagram, Charlie Mack NYC BKLYN. So talk a little bit about these videos and what I'm doing here with my channel. I wanted to have a platform and just kind of a placeholder to keep a lot of good and useful information about coins, about bullion, about numismatics, about currency, but also kind of a get to know the community. So that's the purpose of today's video. We're going to get to know some people in the community. We're going to meet Brad, Stacking ATL. We're going to talk a little bit about what he's into work wise, collecting wise. So for those who don't know him, let's show you what he's all about. Got a cool little video we're going to put together. Uh, hope you enjoy it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type them. I will pin them up there and we will get to them. If you're watching this later after the live, feel free to throw the comments in there. We will get back to you. So let's check it out.
Dude,
Fire,
that
fire,
was
fire.
great.
For those who don't know, this is Stacking ATL, also known as Mythic Pens. Talk a little bit about both. He's got two personalities, I think. We're going to have to dissect them today.
It can be
Brad,
difficult sometimes.
thank you for joining us. You were all over this. I put this up on Instagram. I wanted to kind of get to know all the community members and kind of get people to know other people who they deal with. You and I actually talked about some of the stuff this week about dealing with reputable sellers, especially in the community when it comes to precious metals, because online is very different than the coin shops and shows. Um,
Very much.
so you have two handles, and we'll talk a little bit about you and your platform and what you do. MythicPens.com. Beautiful stuff, by the way, folks. If you have not
Thank you.
seen this yet, gotta check it out. You gotta get yourself one. I am in the works of trying to get something matched to my artwork. Brad,
Gonna
thank you
we're
for
gonna make
joining
that
us.
happen. No
Uh,
problem, man. Thanks for having me.
so I put this feeler out, and like I said, I'm pretty much open to chat with anybody. Just kind of make it focus on the community. But I want to talk a little bit about you, what you do. So tell the folks where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
All right. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Brad. I am from Georgia, down south. I live in a town of about 620 some odd people. It's really,
Nice.
really small. Little different than your neck of the woods.
We probably got like 6,000 people on my block.
Probably so, right? You may have more people in your on your block than I have in the town, probably in the county. But a little small town called Milner, Georgia. It's a nice little town. I like the quiet, like the peace and quiet that it brings. It allows me enough time to kind of relax. And that's what we
Nice.
all need sometimes.
Definitely, especially New York life, that hustle and bustle. Sometimes we don't know how to slow down.
And that's one of the hardest lessons to learn about life in general is just how to slow down and take it easy. And I haven't learned that lesson very well, even though, yeah, even living in the middle of nowhere and all that good stuff. So, and I've got my shop here and everything. It's nice. I really enjoyed it. Grew up in a small town. It's right up my alley.
Now you're born and raised in Georgia?
That's right.
Nice. All
Born
right.
and raised. Grew up in Butts County. How awesome.
Butts County.
Butts County, Georgia. It's about 20 away from where we live now. Jackson, Georgia is the city over there. So, yeah.
Awesome. So for the people that don't know some of the work that you did, tell them a little bit about Mythic Pens.
Okay. The Mythic Pen Company, we started in 2019. I've been a pen collector for a while now. Went to a pen show in Atlanta. They actually have shows, kind of like coin shows, where vendors are set up there. You can have like the big corporate guys. I didn't know that there were these small handmade pen guys. Met one, Jonathan Brooks. He owns the Carolina Pen Company up in Aiken, South Carolina. Met him and discovered that, hey, these guys make these at home, right? So I was like, oh, okay. And I've been trying to do woodworking for a while and wasn't doing well with it. So I said, hey, I wonder. So I reached out to Jonathan. Jonathan's one of the top in the industry in the handmade, what we call either the kitless or bespoke pen world. And he actually responded. He said, hey, come up to the house and I'll do that. I was
Nice.
shocked, right? So I went up, spent a day, made a pen, learned a lot about it, came back, did a Kickstarter. It fulfilled, it went well, bought some tools, started up, sold my first pen on December 1st of 2019. And
Very
so
nice.
far we've done really well. I'm really happy with the success we've had so far. We got a lot of customers, a lot of return customers, we've made a lot of great friends through that. And it's similar to the stacking community. There's a large pen community and everybody watches each other's back. They always checking up on everybody. They seem to really care about everybody. It's really great.
Now, I mean, I've looked at the stuff, obviously getting things ready for this evening, but when I first came across your page, I thought it was like the coolest thing because it just seems like we've gotten away from making things ourselves, for
Yeah.
us, by us. We just go to the store and we don't even think about it. We buy a pack of like, 50 pens for the cheapest amount possible, and they're terrible. It's a piece of crap pen. You throw it out, you get rid of it. But you guys make some really, really beautiful handcrafted pens. What is the time frame like, start to finish, for like a piece? Do you do one at a
Um,
time or do you do groups?
Typically, it depends on what kind of mood I'm in more than anything. This afternoon, when I got back, I got out of work a little bit early. I made one start to finish, and then I started batching some out. I made a batch of 9. What I'll do is I'll cut them into pieces, and then I'll cut, like these and 9 caps sections, and then I'll go through the shaping process with all of those. But if I'm doing a one-off, I can get it done probably in about 2 hours,
Okay,
start to
nice.
finish. That's from a raw stick of plastic like this to a finished polished pen ready to go. About 2 hours.
Very nice. Now, do you use mostly just plastics, or do you use wood, metals?
I haven't gotten into wood yet. I just started using some metal. I've got some bronze and brass that I've made a couple of pins with. Just rings and parts, not necessarily the whole pin.
Hmm.
Um, Domestics, I've gotten into things you showed in the video. Some of those materials that I found. There was one. It has a black and white resin with a checkerboard, kind of black and white. That's almost 100-year-old material that was made for the Pilot pen, or it was either Pilot or Parker about 100 years ago. And it's very rare. It's hard to find. It's cellulose acetate, so it's a really volatile kind of substance, or celluloid, if you will. Same thing that old film was made out of, that nitrocellulose film
Oh yeah. Okay.
from back in the
Nice.
day. And the more of the vintage materials now, I'm really enjoying that. The only problem is they were pens years ago were only so big. They didn't make larger sized pens. So you can only get those materials in certain diameters. So for anything larger than say about maybe a 13 millimeter or so pen, you have to go with a more of a modern um, acrylic type, or either acrylic or a resin based plastic.
Gotcha. So, wanted to talk a little bit about our precious metals community as well. And you're right. I think each community, whether it's the knives, the comics, pens, coins. There's a strong bond, and we always look out for each other. I always like to ask, when did you start collecting? When did you start getting into precious metals?
Um, it was probably what, about 6 months ago, I think. Me and my better have been on Instagram with us in the games and in having some fun. Hello Diamond Tattoo, give a shout out there. Um, we were sitting around her parents' house, and her brother started talking about it, talking about silver. Her dad started talking about collecting and kind of uh, as a hedge against inflation, kind of a savings kind of deal. We just started thinking about it. We went online and to one of the large companies and ordered a few things, ordered some silver eagles, and I think we ordered a couple of maps and things like that. And and then, as a lot of things do with me, I'll do it for one reason, and then it turns into a hobby. It turns into a collection. It turns into kind of a I don't want to say obsession because that gets a little farther into it than I am, but it does. It's gonna turn into a hobby at some point.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of what it has done since then. I've kind of branched out from the governmental, the minted things to some other, more fun things, if you will.
Mhm. Kind of my next question. We like to say this in the community. I don't know if you've heard this yet, but how you stacking? We always want to know what each
Yep.
person is into. How you stacking. So, what are you really into? Like right now, you're a little bit of everything, or coins, rounds, silver, gold, platinum.
Since I've just gotten into it, I'm trying to build up a pretty good base of silver. It's the most affordable.
Yeah.
And so lots of silver. I like rounds. I'm a big fan of silver. I talked to a lot of people, going into it, read a lot, watched a lot of videos, asked a lot of people questions, and it seemed like there's certain people out there that weren't fans of fractional silver just because it takes up space and you get bigger pieces. I tell you, I've really that lately. Got some. Uh, these are really tough to see, but the little 1/10 Britannias,
Oh yeah.
this kind of stuff, I love it. The Cook Islands bounties and the little 1/10 Libertads and things like that. That's what I've been getting into more recently. I'm just trying a good base of silver right now. Getting into slabs. I joined the slab club, and I've been partaking in the amazing deals we get through the slab club every week or so. A little bit of gold, an ounce by the end of the year, gram by gram. That's how I like to do. That's how I like to do it.
Gram by gram. Yeah, that's the way
And
to do it.
yeah, we got a
I
couple of grams of platinum laying around, but mostly silver.
Yeah, it's actually funny because you beat me to my next question. I was gonna say, do you stack any fractional? Um, I was, and it's funny because I got into this about 3 years ago, but like seriously collecting over the past year, probably the same sources with Stacking NYC and through the clubs. I literally started gram by gram and by fractionals. I got a couple of fractionals, sold them, went up to an ounce. Sold a couple of ounces, got a 5 ounce, got a couple of 5 ounces, sold them for a 10 ounce. But you're right, silver is a lot easier to pick up, in my opinion, and then sell or move or trade. It's very hard to find that buyer who's going to buy an ounce of platinum or an ounce of gold in one shot. So
Very
frac-
true.
fractionals is a really good way to go. Takes up more
And it's
storage space.
yeah, it's a little more storage space, but I'm one of these weirdos. I like to have a capsule for everything. I like to keep it in a case. I just bought NGC slab holders and PCS, and I bought one of these little wooden. Everybody's seen them, the little wooden boxes off of Amazon for the fractional stuff, and I'm trying to fill it. I want 100 pieces of fractional silver in there by the end of the year, things like that. And I think it's easier to with silver especially, it's easier to talk yourself into spending $25, $35 on a piece of silver rather than, jumping up to the $200 market or the $300 market on a small, it looks like a small piece of gold. And so there seems to be value in weight with silver. And that's one of the things that I started, buying more silver because you feel like you're getting more bang for your buck what you can hold in your in a way, and it's kind of rewarding in that aspect. Gold is gold. It's got a higher price tag. It's got a higher value. So I still want to have some of that around.
Absolutely. It's funny to talk about the storage cases. I literally just got mine in this week. Hold 60, so I know exactly how many I have and how many I need to buy to fill. Just
Yep.
helps fuel the addiction a little bit.
It does, and you know, it's one of those things to where I'm one of those also people. I just stare at the stuff. I'm there's times where you just kind of, even though you've seen it 100 times, you still go through and you're looking at each one and you're like, wow, this is really cool. And I think, capsules and things like that help you from damaging the metals. It helps you from damaging the rounds and scratching them and getting fingerprints all over them. If you're one of those people that likes to look at them constantly, like I do, I even gone as far as, I stepped up. I was lucky up a RMC or RCM, the Royal Canadian Bar, and I went bought a capsule for it. Even something like a 10-ounce bar that's going to end up going in the safe in the deep stack, and just it's going to in a capsule.
How about recruitment? Have you tried to recruit any friends and family to start collecting as of yet?
I have. I've been kind of hesitant. It depends on who it is.
Okay.
We all need to be safe about what we're doing, and we all need to, keep an eye on who we're talking to about what we do. But there's nothing wrong with bringing people into the community and bringing people into the trade. I've talked to several of my friends. My buddy that showed me how to do joined in on one of the games one night when we were talking about it and started bidding, and he was having a good time with it. And I've actually found out that there's more people that I didn't know were into stacking. They're not into it to the point where they're going to create an Instagram profile and things like that, but they'll go buy an LCS or something like that and pick a few things up here or there. They'll order online once or do an auto invest kind of deal, something like that. But I've been talking to my close, look, man, no matter what happens, it's always going to be in your safe. You need to pick up some, whether it's gold, whether it's silver, the metals are needed at some point. And that's my
It,
thoughts on it.
it's funny you say that. I when I first started getting into this about 3 years ago, yeah, I got into it because I had an aunt who got me a book of the statehood quarters. So
Yep.
grab them as I go to the bank and fill them out. And then I came across one silver proof that was in the bank. Like, holy shit, what the wow.
Right, right.
Went crazy. And then, I was talking to some people like, oh yeah, that's silver. I'm like, is that good? Bad? What are you telling me? What do I got to do with this now? They're like, no, that's good. You want to keep those. And the person I spoke to was actually one of my bosses years ago. He collected silver eagles and silver certificates. So in the job, he's showing me all of his stuff, and I was like, man, this is cool. And I stumbled upon Stacking NYC's page on Instagram. I didn't even know about all the other websites like the U.S. Mint or AppMex and some of
Yeah,
these other big bullion stuff. But a lot of people are into this stuff. Um, Friends, and I've got a couple of family members who collect as well. It really is a cool hobby. It has helped me kind of keep a budget. Not all the time, splurge on some stuff here and there, but
definitely.
it definitely helps keep you focused.
And that's one of the things too, especially for a new stacker, you kind of get to buy and buy and buy and buy. We get on Stacking NYC's auctions. I don't need to, but yeah, I'm going to buy this, and it's fun. Kristen and I watch the videos together. I travel a lot for work. So it's one of those things to where if you're doing a game or if Tommy's doing something, Mike's doing something like that, I can watch that in my hotel room 4 hours away. She can watch that here. And it's kind of like we're doing something together, even on trips and things like that. So it's been a benefit to me in that respect, even with getting some good deals on things and better. If you buy from the community, you're going to get better deals. You're going to get better prices than you will with the corporations.
Yeah.
The community is going to take care of you. And
Yeah.
I've learned that throughout this, throughout this part. I mean, I even reach out to you guys to see, hey, can I buy from this guy? Should I buy from this person? Things like that. So, it really helps out and the community looks out for each other. It's great.
It's actually one of the things, I learned as well. Like I was just always like an impulse. I see something, I'm going for it. But a lot of people have said to also do your due diligence. Like you may know somebody, but always ask for references. And if you see something,
Right.
there's nothing wrong with asking for a reference, double checking with people. So it's kind of helped my sales side as well.
Yeah.
Learning who you're dealing with as well, very
Well,
important.
if people are legitimate, they're not going to have a problem with you asking them if they've got references. How many? If they're legitimate, they shouldn't have a problem with that. It's just like any kind of a business.
Hmm.
They should be willing to talk about their business and be willing to talk about who they are, what they do, and those sort of things. And that's one of those red flags. If they're not willing to share any information at all, weird.
Got a question from our good friend Northwest Stacker. Not sure if you know Northwest. Really good people. Wants to know how much do you stack versus how much you collect.
Well, I'm more in the collecting phase right now than I am in the stacking phase. As I go through, I'll get pieces that I decide, okay, this is going to go in a collection, this is going to go in the stack, right? Well, I've been buying these boxes, and I have one for our stack between Kristen and I. We've got one for my stack kind of thing, and our stack is what I consider to be our deep stack.
Cool.
But our deep stack is probably a quarter of what compared to like my collection, and because I find, all of it's going to end up in the stack at some point.
Yep.
I'd like to get into selling at some point on Instagram, sell some, buy some. That's my main motive there. Not necessarily to make money, but to kind of flip some stuff and go get more, but mostly collecting. I'd say 75% collecting right now versus stacking. But it's all metal and it's all here. So it's going to be for the same purpose no matter what.
It's hard. Like, I mean, even if you put it in the deep stack and in the safe, you know the combination, so you want to take it out just to play with it sometimes, and then just yeah, I hear you on that one.
It's tough sometimes because I just got my first Engelhard bar.
Nice.
I hadn't got one of those. It was from a game. It was one of those where you don't know what you're going to get, but you won something. And it
Mhm.
showed up, and I was like, man, that's really awesome. I'm going to stare at it, but it's going to go in the safe. I'm just going to go in there and visit it every once in a while, so it doesn't get lonely kind of thing.
Take him out to play.
Right, right, right. And I've started a new collection. I'm doing the Queen's Beast collection, trying to get
Oh, so nice.
all 10 of those, but I'm having a problem. I've been getting a lot of really scratched up pieces. Um, and I'm not one of those people that's hesitant to send stuff back. I'll get it and say, hey, look, advertise this as BU. This is not BU.
Yeah.
And so, I've got 3 of the beasts and a couple of completers so far. So, but and I just want a collection. I want to get the whole set. I want to have some say, hey, I found all of this thing.
That is a beautiful set to have. I didn't start the set. I just got the completer,
Yeah.
and I got the completer because I wanted to get the ring. And Rob, I mean, he just knocked it out of the park. He did a completer ring for me, antiqued it. Friggin' thing is beautiful, and it
That's
kind of
something
goes
we're
back.
looking into.
Oh
Yeah.
man, so sweet. So you have to make like a completer pen somehow,
Oh,
some way.
yeah. I've got 2 of them just, I made sure that I had 2 of them just in case, because Kristen is really into jewelry. She's a gemologist,
Ah, nice. Okay.
a certified gemologist, actually, makes jewelry and all that kind of stuff. And so the metals kind of blend into the pen making and, all of that other stuff. So it makes it a lot easier. So we're having a ring made with one of them. We just got to get
There's
that done.
there's a lot of people you'll probably want to collaborate with, and I'll send you some names after. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, just
Sure.
make sure it works out. But
Outstanding.
Rob, great guy. He's done a lot of coin rings. He's done some special projects, but he specializes in coin rings. Really, really nice.
It's awesome stuff.
Um, and that's the other thing too. Like, you have your bullion silver, and then you have your poured silver. That's like a whole nother market out there. What are
Oh,
some of
yeah.
the favorite pieces that you have right now?
Um, and I've put it on. I think one of the first things I put on Instagram when I first joined up and started my stacking profile was Morgans. I love Morgans, and it's not necessarily for their intrinsic value or anything like that. It's the nicest coin that's ever been minted in the country. To me, and that's a very individual thing. Some people love the peace dollar over the Morgan. Some people love the wheat penny over the peace dollar Morgan. But Morgans to me they're beautiful coins. And I found one at a local antique store. It's an 1878. I think it's an O. So I think it's a New Orleans, but it started toning while it was there. It's
Nice.
dark. It's mostly dark, but right around the outside, you're starting to see that orange and the blue coming in. Not in, I mean, it would be in the low 60s if I probably tried to have it graded if they would do that. But for some reason, it's just that color and that toning. So some of the favorite things, I've really gotten into the Libertads. I really like them. They're cool coins. There's a little bit of a challenge to it to get certain ones. So I've really enjoyed that. Picked up some of the silver degenerate slabs
Also
with the
good.
hashtag on there. Uh, but right now, I don't know if I could really say I have a favorite. I'm so new into the hobby, and I'm so give me that, give me that, give me that. Still kind of still learning and still looking around and seeing what's out there. But it's really cool to see all the different stuff, the Star Wars stuff, the Simpsons stuff, this, that. I had no idea, never
I
knew that any of that would be there.
I did the last episode actually was on Morgans. One of
Great
my
episode
favorite
too.
like numismatic coins. Like to me, they're a beautiful coin, but the history attached to them is just a whole nother thing.
Oh yeah,
And it's funny, like making that video and going through the Morgans and talking with Mooney Tucker about them. Like it's crazy to think like you may have a piece of history that has been in the Wild West, Custard Last Stand, crossed the Ellis Islands. Like you never know. Now, you can get the grading, but you don't know the full history of that coin. Like just freaks me out. It's so cool.
it's super cool to think about that too. This is an 1878. This was made 100 years before I was born. You know, and who could have had this? Who could have had this in their pocket? Who could have had this in their tray at the house? What in the cabin or whatever whatever. But who would have had this and maybe paid for something with it? What did they buy with it? It's a really cool thought to have and
Hmm.
to just kind of imagine and wonder about.
Yeah, I think about it the lifestyle too. Like wages obviously were very different. Like for some
Right.
people, a bag full of Morgans, that's their yearly salary. Maybe.
Yeah. You're looking at a dollar coin, and what could you buy for a dollar in 1878? I mean, it went way farther than probably $150 does now, which is
Yeah,
amazing to think. It's just one coin. You're like, how? I don't know. You couldn't get much for that right
yeah.
now, but just to think about who may have been carrying that.
I think like my next episode is going to be on Mercury dimes. Like that's another one of like my favorite numismatic
Okay.
pieces. Kind of the same thing. Like I'm big into the military stuff, obviously with my background, but just the history of some of this stuff. It's U.S. history. It's coin history. It's numismatic history. Really, really interesting stuff.
And on top of that, we had a lot of people. You mentioned like Ellis Island or something like that. Who knows if one of their distant family members had come through there around that time and their pocket change, and you may have never met them or never heard of them, but you could even have a piece of change in your collection that they had used.
Hmm.
That's a really interesting thought. I hadn't thought about that so far.
Yeah, I think about like just the struggles. Like from then to even now, like
Yep.
people came here for a reason. This is the place to be. This is America. You can make it. You got to do what you need to do to make it. But like,
Right.
once you get into the five boroughs, the world is yours.
Oh, if you can figure it out from a southern perspective, I don't understand it, but but not that I'm
um,
willing to try.
yeah, that you just got to try. You never know. Question that came up: do you attend any local coin shows or coin events?
I have not yet. One up in Marietta, I think quite often, up near Atlanta in Cobb County, over west of Atlanta, that happens pretty regularly. I'm one of those people that like that are going on, I kind of keep to myself. I kind of, I don't get out in big groups yet and anything like that. Just a kind of comfort. But we're starting to venture back out, and I do want to get to one soon. I found, just watching Instagram and seeing the interactions that people have, the deals people are able to get, the trading. Part of this is trading
Yeah,
too. It's not
yeah.
always buying and selling. It's trading is making deals just like buying stuff at a good price or selling stuff at a good price. And I want to get into some of that. Other than I've been to a couple of coin shops, one up in Marietta, and then a couple down in Florida when I was traveling, one in Jacksonville, and then one over near Orlando. And I think a coin show would be a really cool event to go to and just see there would be just a wacky variety of things to look at, just an incredible amount of things to look at.
I know a lot of I haven't been to any yet myself, and I know things are still kind of shut down here and there. but the guys in the community, the Fun Show in Orlando is a really really big one. They do one in Vegas as well, and from what I heard and what I seen in those videos, those guys get a little crazy.
Well, and you got to cut loose every once in a while, right? You have to. You have to have some fun. And it's one of those things to where at the coin shop that I went to, let me see, where is that one? I picked it's a 2021, it's a Type 1 MS-70 first day of issue in an NGC slab with the American flag. It's got Don Everhart's picture and signature on it. I could not have gotten this for the price that I got it at that coin shop anywhere else, probably. It was an incredible deal. I was talking to the guy. He's like, "Hey, you're new? Well, here, check this out. Do you like this kind of stuff?" And he made me an incredible deal on it. Face to face kind of interaction with a member of the community really
I've
made the
met
difference.
I've met probably about 25, 30 people so far in person, just through the Silver Degenerates community. And it's funny, people say, well, why do you call yourself a degenerate? I'll say, listen, God damn it, I'm from Brooklyn. Degenerate is a good thing, all right?
Yeah,
It means you're passionate about something. But it's funny because I would go to the local banks, and this is kind of when I did coin roll hunting. I was always trying to look for Franklin's
right,
and the walking half liberties. So I'd go to the bank, tell her, hey, listen, can you order me a box of these? Yeah, but why do you want them? Nobody uses them. I'm like, you work in a bank. You don't understand why I'm asking for these?
right,
Like, no, why? I'm like, well, listen, I'll tell you, but if you get them, you got to give them to me. So I tried to explain to them, about the silver con in them, and they're like, oh, I still don't get it. I'm like, oh my gosh, the younger generation, we got
right.
to teach them.
Right, definitely. And that's one thing I want to get into. I was thinking about that. Like every paycheck, just grabbing $20 and going by a bank and buying a couple of rolls of halves or something like that, and just searching through them. And then if nothing's there, just take them right back in and get my cash back. That kind
Yep.
of thing. It'd be a fun kind of coin hunting, right? It's fun.
It's funny because I seen there's like two YouTube channels that do it religiously. Like every Sunday, they've got their videos going. They do it live, and it's fun. It's a good coffee and bagel New York kind of thing to do. And we have banks
Right,
on every other block here. But just things to recommend someone new getting into the hobby. For me, I would just tell people, do your research. Get the red books. Do your research, figure out what you like, and read up on it. There's so much to know. You're probably
right.
never going to stop. But what about you? I know that you're fairly new, but if you had somebody coming in, what are some things you'd recommend to them?
From my perspective, one of the things you touched on that, do your research. Do as much research as you can. When I first started out, I found the YouTube community first. And some of the people that have quite a few videos that I watched, and some of them are very on the like doom and gloom side of the impending this and that. Some of them
Yeah.
are on the fun side, and then some of them are more on the informational side of things. Like, this is why we do this. And one, do your research, but do a lot of research. Don't just research from one. Find
Hmm.
those, like if I could find three different types of videos, I want to watch all three of them. I want to see the doom and gloom. I want to see the information. I want to see the fun. And number two is, after you do that research, find what works for you and what makes you happy and what makes you have fun doing it. If you're not going to have fun doing it, you're gonna stop, or it's going to seem like a chore or something like that. And I tell people, even in the pen world, write with the pen that makes you happy, and buy the round that makes you happy. If you love just generic buffalo 1 ounce buffalo rounds, buy them. If you love the Simpsons rounds, or if you love the Libertats, buy them. Have fun with it is number two. And number three is to diversify, to
Yeah.
some level, and like I say, I'm just 6, 7 months into it. And, I've been, every time I see grams of gold come up, I'll snag one. I'm trying to get an ounce by the end of the year. And I don't think that's an unreasonable goal to have.
Hmm.
But I haven't gotten the budget yet to like the quarter ounces or the
Yeah.
tenths or things like that. So I'm at the gram level right now, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with stacking gram by gram.
It's funny actually. You say that, gram by gram, or some people go ounce by ounce. Like, whoa, 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 cowboy! I don't have enough to get. I don't have enough to buy an ounce every week like some of you
Yeah,
guys do.
right,
But one of the reasons we started the Gold Club was, um, listen, I think it's fairly reasonable to purchase 1/10 ounce piece a month, and by the end, if you miss a month, you still have a month or two to catch up.
right.
You can get 1 ounce of gold by the end of the year. So that's the reason that we kind of started it. It just literally went like 70 miles an hour. It took off. And I tell everybody, there's no obligation to buy, but stick to a plan, stick to a budget. I mean, I've surpassed mine last week because I just went a little crazy from week to week, but I had it in my budget, did some
Yep.
overtime, just kind of put that money to the side. But even we broke it down, gram by gram. If you bought, let's just say, 1 gram of gold every other week, you would still hit that same goal at the end of the year.
Right.
So, we tell people, listen, you don't have to go crazy because I mean, I know people that dropped out and just didn't want to collect anymore because they spent all their money so fast. Prices go up and down, and now
That's
they're out.
it's easy to do. It is easy to get outside of a budget if you've set a budget for yourself or something like that. Like I'm one of those people that I have to kind of set, all right, I more for a couple of weeks, but I'm going to have to block several of y'all so I can't see the sales and I can't see the games and I can't see the deals. But I want to get, once I get my silver built up to where it is, I want to go for some of those 10th ounce pieces.
Mm.
And the gold club, the platinum club, the slab club are great places to kind of step up collection or your stacking a little bit. The slabs that come out through the slab club are great deals on some great pieces. The gold, and even though I haven't bought anything through the gold club, the prices are great. It's not because of the price. So I think once I get my silver built up to where I want it, I want to set an ounce goal for silver and then kind of step up this, something like that.
Sure.
And then I'm gonna start buying the tents, because they're cool pieces anyway.
It's funny because I was actually going to buy something from the Slab Club today, but I saw they actually had a deal in the Platinum Club, and I was like, I got to get that. I mean, it's a great
Right.
price for a 10th ounce of platinum. And I'm trying to do the same thing at the end of the year, have one tube filled, so I have an ounce of platinum.
And that's a great idea, and you can do it. And a lot of people, I think, get kind of discouraged because they see that 1 ounce bar of gold is 2 grand. Yeah, but a gram you can get for 60, $70.
Hmm.
And just you're looking at that $2,000. Well, if you spread that out 65, $70 every other week or once a month or something like that, it's not as bad as you would think it would be at all.
What about items that you're looking to acquire? Is there anything out there, piece-wise, whether it's numismatics or bullion, anything you're looking to pick up?
I would love to just be able to grab a 1 ounce gold bar.
Nice.
And it's a goal of mine at some point just to have one. I'd like to grab. I'd really like to get all the backdated Marvel coins too. That's one of the things I'm looking at. I'll see them come up for 50, $55. Not a bad price at all. On Instagram every once in a while. And I'm going to start grabbing one of those here and there because that's another set. The problem is they make sets. If they never
Yep.
made sets, I wouldn't be crazy. And so, I want to start collecting those. So I think, but above all, I want a gold bar sitting in my
It's funny because the reason I started grading coins was actually because of the Marvel set. I
right.
had maybe 5 or 6 of them at the time, and all in sequential order. I was like, you know what? These are something I'm going to keep. Let me send them out to grading, and I think hit a home run with all of them except like 2 or 3 of them. Everything came back a 70 except for Hulk. Hulk is very hard to get in a 70,
Hmm.
and Deadpool. But I mean, those are just cool coins. And from what I hear, I don't know for sure. I think there's 26 or 28 altogether in that series.
And I don't want to know that because that tells what my future is going to be like.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
know, and I do say I'd love a bar on the safe, but I'd also have to. I would love to have a GSA, Carson City, Morgan, just one. Doesn't have to be a key date. Doesn't have to be a super awesome date. Just one, just to have in the collection.
Mo- I mean, I don't care what year it is, but Carson City Morgan Dollar, that is definitely on my radar. That's one I would love to have as well. I would rather have that over an ounce of gold.
And I almost would too. I would I'd enjoy looking at it more. I've got one Carson City, but it is beat to hell, and I'm to it. I mean, because it's silver, first off, and it's a Carson City coin, but it is beat to hell, and it's still worth more than some of the other non-key date Morgans are, even in the state that it's in, even in the nearly coal condition that it's in, right?
Thinking of another set, the Black Flag series with the pirate ships. That's another
Yeah.
nice set. Um,
I want that set. I also want the shipwreck set. I love the triangle coins. I want to get the shipwreck set. Probably, but it'll be one at a time over a period of time, and that's the best way to do it. I mean,
yeah.
don't spend all your bread money on metal. I always ask people when they're dealing with a difficult situation, well, how do you eat an elephant?
Mhm.
You eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? And how are you going to create a large stack for yourself? You do it 1 gram, 1 ounce at a time. It's more
You mentioned I,
manageable.
I actually forgot about those, and it's funny now that you mentioned them. I remember when those first came out. They were upside down. I got one I mean, this is like spot price was probably like $11 or $12. I
Oh,
got one crazy cheap. So someone sent me one. We did a trade for silver. I'm like, what did you send me? This is upside down. It's an error.
right.
I literally sold it. For no joke, probably like $20.
Oh man.
And now I'm like, oh man. I had all of the series up to that point. Like $20 here. Just take it. Give me
Right.
give me something else.
Right. And the Black Flag series, is that what the pirate ships? I
Blackbeard.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that set. I'm a big fan of. There's a city down in Florida that we go to quite a bit, St. Augustine, and they've been sacked by pirates over the years. There's a museum there and everything. So I've kind of gotten into that. I'm not going to be just walking around like, maybe, that kind of thing. But, I've really got into the history of that kind of thing. And having that set would be really cool. I'd really enjoy that. Zoo series, that's
It's,
another one too.
that's a
It's a
pretty
great
penny, man.
set.
Northwest knows. Northwest has expensive taste. I've
Well,
got champagne dreams and beer money.
I'm on champagne taste and water budget. You know what I mean?
So I'm always there to help people out. I know there's a number of other people. The question that came up was, has anyone from the community helped you? I guess the question is, who have you leaned to in the
Okay.
community when you need help?
And I think the three main people that I talk to quite a bit. I talk to you. I bug the hell out of you with um Tommy, Stacking NYC, and
I know,
Mike.
I know Tommy. Tommy's a pretty good guy.
Yeah, I bug Mike all the time, and then I've started bugging Sean lately. Because
Egg leg.
I
Yeah.
want to get. I've got 3 Morgans that I've been hanging on to, and I keep him and that's a Southern thing. Um, trying to make a decision whether or not I want to send them in to have them graded. I think they look incredible. But it's the money and things like that. What if I send it in? I don't know that it's, or I don't know that this is, or whatever. There's a couple of them I think that would grade a 63 or better.
Hmm.
And I've picked them up. And so Sean's been helping me kind of sort through some of that. He does a great service for the community by helping people out with that. On top of the amount of, like, you guys are a fountain of information about this, especially to the new people who we don't know who we don't quite know who to buy from. It looked like this week we might have gotten burned by somebody, but there was a story behind it, and it's those kind of things. You need somebody to kind of lean on, and you need somebody that you can trust.
Yeah.
So I would say the three of you guys, I lean on more than anybody else.
I would definitely say there's good choices. Sean, really good friend. His birthday was actually yesterday, so wish him a happy
Oh, well,
birthday.
happy belated birthday, Sean.
Sean's a really good dude, and it's funny. Like when I wanted my stuff graded, I didn't care, about the price. I was like, let me go to NGC and go sign up. I got like the top tier, and then looking at the actual forms to fill out, I'm like, I am not doing this. Hey, Sean,
Right, right.
help me out. And people don't understand, like, there is a lot of stuff on the back end that has to be done. It's not just taking a coin and shipping it to them.
Yeah.
You've got to be very detailed with the forms. So there's a lot of paperwork involved. But Sean is really good. Sean actually has some special tools, and he's got his little microscope and his like doohickeys. He will look something over and he will tell you, which he's done for me a couple of times. Hey, Charlie, you may not want to send this in. It's probably not going to be a good grade. And I said, listen here, fool, send it in. I don't care. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But then, but then he like, hey, listen, I just want to let you know, there's a scratch here, and he'll take a picture and like, hey, listen, this is not going to grade, perfect. Like, don't worry about it. For me, I don't care. Like, these are going to be things that are going to be in my deep stack, hard
Right.
to get, or the first of something. But he will help everybody with that process. And he wanted to jump on my YouTube and go with the grading when we got the unboxing stuff. So he's very, very available.
Well, that helped a lot too. I was watching and thinking about these things that I wanted to send in, and I was looking at a couple. I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to spend the money sending that one in. I would rather go with this one over that one, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. Seeing what y'all were pulling out, and then the tips he gave on the YouTube channel. Your channel has been a great help as well. It's
Thank you.
it's it's
Yeah.
a great wealth of information again.
I'm still learning kind of along the way myself. So as I learn and grow, I feel like it's my duty to pass along information. And you mentioned something about an unfortunate incident in the community. There's always two sides to a story. But if you're doing a game or if you're selling, you have an obligation. Like
Right.
you're taking in money, get the stuff out to the people. Or things happen. We're all human and stuff happens. Get information out. Kind of lead you to live a better, wholesome life. Do things the right way.
Yep.
Things. But listen, families stuff happens. Law, life, and all that other stuff happens. But you have an obligation at that point. A lot of people they know each other very well in this community, and it's funny. We actually have a United States Constitution going around the country. I'm not sure if you're aware.
Yep.
We're having that go through like all 50 states, and at the end we'll do a little something. But it's another thing, just build community, get to know people, and read the Constitution. Just things that people are into.
And that community aspect is one of the big things that drew me into it deeper than I know. Like I said, coming from the pen community, which nobody would ever imagine that exists.
Hmm.
It's one of those things where community members, you get along. Sometimes you're going to fight. Sometimes you're going to have arguments. Sometimes you're going to disagree. But it's the overall feeling and the overall community aspect of it and I've always been a big fan of that. With my pen making, my pod, always trying to help people out. Needs a piece of material that they don't have. I'll send it to them. Who cares?
T- you know,
Here.
to- Tommy's kind of the same way, and everybody calls him the commissioner, and I call him friend, and he calls a lot of us
Yep.
friends as well. And he's been a guiding light, just to kind of talk about precious metals in general, and a lot of other topics as well. He's given people a platform because he does his dual auctions on Wednesday. So if you ever look to
Yep.
sell, he'll bring you on and help out as well. Um, Miles Standish is another really good guy that I would always recommend for stuff with NGC. Very, very knowledgeable, knows his stuff. There's a couple of other people of poured silver, MK Bars,
Yep.
Silver Stackaholic. So there's a lot of really good people that are willing to help.
Haven't made the jump yet, but it's on the list. It's on the list.
Poured silver is a whole another game. I mean, you can go crazy. I'm into dragon stuff, and I've probably had every poor artist that I know on Instagram make me something for either dragons or Brooklyn.
That's
And I've,
pretty
I've
awesome.
I've definitely overspent. Those guys know they can flip me upside down and take my money.
Well, they're going to be like, "Hey, man, you're going to want this," or they'll just send it to
Eh,
you and wait for the money to come in. That's kind of how it goes with us on the pen side of things too. We'll do that kind of stuff all the time.
Yep.
It always goes back to the community, man, and that's the most important aspect of it.
Do you know NEPA stacking?
I do. I'm following most
NEPA metals.
everybody. I just haven't
Okay.
had a chance to have like conversations. I'm slowly reaching out to people here and there. Usually it'll be like somebody has something for sale that I want, and then okay, I'll buy it, and then we have conversation, and then we start getting to know people that way
Gotcha.
too. I found that's a
Ne-
great way to do it.
NEPA is someone who's probably got his hand in my pocket right now. Really good guy. I got so I asked he's really cool dude. He just started pouring and he made a custom round with my Brooklyn logo. He put
I
Charlie
saw
Mack on the
that. Was that
back.
on Instagram today? I think
uh,
I saw that one. Yeah, it looked
Instagram
good.
today. There's a little behind the scenes. I didn't post it yet. He's seen it. He knows what I'm going to talk about. During 9/11, he made a donation to the 9/11 fund. He sponsored like a cobblestone and everything. I was actually down there today and Memorial Glade. I got a
Wow.
picture of the stone that he sponsored. So I sent him a picture of that. We're going to put something cool together. But now I'm asking him to do something for Halloween and already something for Christmas. So I've got like 4 projects lined up with him already.
Well, that's really awesome, and it's something that we can get into because these mints aren't going to do things that we want them to do necessarily. They're big. They've got these huge contracts. You'd have to buy so much of something, and the small pouring community is so much better for that. And I really enjoy seeing some of those bars come out, and some of those pieces come out of these different areas, where everybody is, and it's really cool to see their individual take on what they want to do with it. They made it theirs.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
It's funny too. There's a lot of licensing issues with certain pieces. So there's a guy named Rare Metals who makes like amazing, cool custom pours. So they don't have Thundercats out, but what he did is he actually got like the Sword of Omens and the Claw. He made them. I mean, just beautiful pieces. Um, then I'm not sure if you know iCoindy. He's really good with
Yep,
enameling. I've probably sent him 50 dragons to enamel already. This guy knocks everything out of the park.
it's
So
outstanding.
like I said, when you get into the pours and like custom stuff, that's when you have, really pry that wallet open. But it can be very expensive.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see your wallet come out of your back pocket with a piece of fishing string behind you, like floating off in the background. And that's I've been doing the pen thing for years, and I'm known as a material hoarder. I've got a lot of pieces to make stuff with, and it's kind of the same. There's the same mindset behind that, and I'd like to get into pouring one day too. I'm about to add metal, hopefully in the next 6 months or so. I'm going to add metal pieces, like cast metal pieces to my. So I think that's something that Kristen and I could actually do together. That we'd have a lot of fun doing is working with some of these, just buying up a bunch of generic stuff and coming up with some ways to pour it and things like that. I think it'd be a great time.
Definitely, you reach out. I'll put you in the touch with the community. We'll make that. I mean, literally, there's a couple of guys who've made like drumsticks
Nice.
and gave it to one of the rockers. Like you see him playing with them. Like, yo, how do you play with a silver drumstick, dude?
Right.
I play hard.
Right. Play even harder. It makes it louder. Yeah, and that's just a cool thing. You're not going to find that.
Hmm.
It's not something you can go to a store and buy, and
Yep.
I think that's a great part of it too.
It's a one-on-one.
Yep.
So what I like to do at the end of each episode, we do some fun rapid fire. I'm going to ask you several questions. Brad, you just tell me the first thing that comes to mind with these answers.
Sure will. I'll try.
All right. All right. So these are always funny and goofy. First one is, since it's in your alley, in your wheelhouse, the worst kind of stain: ink stain or pizza stain?
Ink stain.
Harder to get out, huh?
Oh yeah.
Better snack: bag of chips or candy bars?
Candy bar all day long. I'm a Snickers addict.
Oh, me too. Oh, we're gonna trade candies later. Worst animal situation: be sprayed by a skunk or puked on by a cat?
I'm gonna say sprayed by a skunk.
We don't got those here in Brooklyn, so I mean, if we did, we'd kick them across the street.
There's a lot of them down this way.
Who wins in a fight:
Oh,
JFK or Reagan?
gotta go with Reagan.
All
Just
right.
because I was alive when he was, you know, in the office and I saw him. But that actually I think it would be a tie. They're both strong people for different reasons. I think it would be a tie.
That's a tough one. I did one a while back, I think on my first or second episode with Patriot Pours. Who wins in a fight: George Washington or Lincoln?
Oh,
That's tough.
I think we would win because we'd get to see him fight. But other than that, that would be a tough
True.
fight. That would be a tough fight.
Yeah, I think George is tough, but he's a tall dude.
Right, right, definitely.
All right, so which one do you survive? You only survive one: nuclear war or zombie outbreak?
I think zombie outbreak because I've got a better chance. I'm not just
Walking
going to
Dead.
get taken out automatically.
You Southern boys like to fight.
You betcha.
So would you rather do
Ooh.
one or the other? Pierce your own ear or give yourself a small tattoo?
Tattoo.
Same here. Yeah.
Add to the collection.
More gross. I asked this last week and I just thought this one was hilarious. I had to leave it in. Bathe in sour milk or shower in nacho cheese?
Sour milk, nacho cheese is good, man.
That's what I told Mooney. Mooney's like, yeah. I'm like, no, dude, you're disgusting.
Yeah, sour milk.
That's
Ooh.
just too funky. Too funky. A little more serious. Who would you want to meet and chat with and really have a good conversation with, either dead or alive, if you had the chance to meet anyone, any given time?
Who the person I would want to meet and chat with would be the first member of my family to come over here from wherever we were from.
Trace your lineage back
Yeah,
like
the
that?
first person to step foot in the United States from either side, my mom's or dad's side of the family, find out why,
That'd be a good
you
one.
know, what they
I,
experienced there, how it's different here, all that kind of stuff. I think that'd be fun.
that's a great answer. Have you ever tried like the genealogy stuff?
My mom has traced it back and found out that we're a whole family full of mediocre people that never made it famous or anything like that. We do go way, way back. I think we're related to some of the people that came over in Plymouth days. So
Oh wow.
um, somewhere they're not the Southern family, but they're around.
I I did mine. It's actually funny because I had no idea. I mean, I know I'm Irish, but traced it back to County Clare.
Oh
So my
wow.
goal last year was to try and go to Ireland, but COVID hit. But I was like, oh, it's just crazy, like how you can track that stuff. Today's day and age, it's
You
scary.
know, but it is cool. There are records. People don't realize how far records can go back. And you can find some things that you would never imagine that you find out about family members and things.
All right, partner. Last question, very important. We get on a serious note. What piece of advice would you give yourself at the age of 21 years of age?
Ooh,
Run into your younger self.
drink more. Um,
Nonstop.
no, I would say take 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 the serious things more seriously and don't sweat the small stuff at a younger age. It took me a lot longer to learn that than it should have.
Good answer. Good answer. That is a way to end a session, man. I love it. I always end it, spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. And I tell everybody, like, share, subscribe, do all the crazy little YouTube things the kids are doing these days.
Hit the
Uh,
buttons.
hit all the buttons, hit them hard, punch them in the throat. So we'd like to
Right?
say. Brad, thanks again, man. Really appreciate it. Anything you want to end off with before we cut out? Appreciate you
Mainly
jumping in, my friend.
Mainly, I would just say thanks for the help. Thanks for the community. Thanks for being part of the community, and thanks for kind of being one of the people that I see as kind of one of the leaders in the community. The information that you
Appreciate it.
guys are giving out, especially your videos that you're doing here, it's great information, especially for new people like me who don't know much about what they're doing and are trying to learn. So that's one of those things I would say thank you for do for the community.
You're welcome, man. Appreciate it. And folks, make sure you check out his page, mythicpens.com. Order one, but don't buy the one that I want. All right.
Nope.
Black, blue, white, purplish kind of color. That's what I'm looking for. So check out his website. Also, make sure you follow him on Instagram, Stacking ATL, and Mythic Pens, right? You
Yep.
follow both? Yeah, follow
That's
both.
both of us.
Do it. Do it. Or punch you in the
Do
throat.
it. Do
Do it.
it. Yeah.
Brad, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Charlie. Had a great time, man.